Ever wonder how you can exit the workforce? Today, we are talking financial independence. Welcome to Let's Talk with NP Student, where we're keeping you updated with every aspect of your life in and out of school. I'm your host, Dr. Patrice Little, and we have Bruce Breedlove joining us again to help us out. He's a nurse and knows all about money management, and it's great, again, once to have him back. So, Bruce, we gave this interview the title of Why You Should Quit Your Job. Help us understand what that means as a new nurse practitioner who's seeking to land her dream job or his dream job.
Yeah, so we intentionally made this title attention getting, right? We want to get your attention here. Obviously, you're in this program, you're part of Patrice's very awesome audience, right? And learning about how to succeed both pre, intra, and post nurse NP school, right? So what I said is I came to Patrice and I said, we need to help get these nurses out of the workforce as soon as possible. And here's what that means, right? We obviously are aware that you're just getting this career. You want to help patients, right? All of this. We want you to exit the workforce as soon as possible because we want you to live the biggest, best life, however you define that, as you can, right? So the reality is we have to work to fund our life. You can't get down the road without having a dollar bill to put inside your gas tank, right? And the other reality is our world runs on money, and you get up every single day doing things that you may not want to because you have to make money, right? So we're going to go over a couple key topics to help you understand how to build a plan to exit the workforce. And exiting the workforce doesn't necessarily mean you sit at home and you're drinking wine on the couch at 9:30 every morning. That's not what this means. This means that if you can choose how to spend every minute of your time how you want to, not having to trade your time for a certain amount of dollars to achieve certain money goals in your life. Okay, that's what this conversation is about. Oh, you're muted.
Leave it up to me when I do these Let's Talk. I'm always keeping myself on mute because I want to make sure that when our guests speak, all the attention is on them.
Sure.
But Bruce, just to continue on with your saying, it's not about sitting down and eating. I used to say bonbons all day. You can tell
that works too.
So I say that because I wanted to just add that disclaimer that, hey, we're not bashing like the fact that if you have to work a 9 to 5 as far as in the clinical setting or a 7 to 7 in the acute care setting. What we're doing is introducing the possibilities of how you can have your life and have the freedom that you want so you can spend more time with your family, be able to have more of a social impact. So definitely, Bruce, I'm happy that you explained that part. So what are the first steps as far as gaining financial independence?
Yeah, so if you have ever heard me speak before, I like to speak in threes. As humans, we understand concepts when you group them in threes the best. Don't know why, and don't ask me why, because I can't tell you. Someone smarter than me found that out. But there's three main things you need to know leaving this call that'll benefit you. If you do these three things, you'll be successful, okay? We need to understand the difference between active and passive income. That's number one. Number two, we need to understand what the time equals money equation is and how to break it. That's the goal. And number three, how to achieve financial independence based on math, not based on, I think I'm saving enough for my 401k. I think I'm doing this. I think I'm doing that, based on math and a plan. Okay. So let's start with active versus passive income. Like I said, to open up this interview, this talk, you're trading currently your time for money. Okay. So let's just establish some shared reality, right? We only have 24 hours in every day, right? I have the same amount of time that Patrice has, that Beyonce has, that Taylor Swift has, and her boyfriend, right? Relevant. So we work a job to trade a certain amount of time for a certain amount of dollars, correct? So we can make more money with our time if we develop higher value skill sets, like you're doing right now in NP school, right? Or other professionals who are in college. Okay. So you are now trading this same amount of time for more money. However, your truly limiting resource is still time. Okay. So because of that, you can make your time worth more money, but you can't get more time. So the true limiting resource is time. Okay. So you have a natural cap on what you can make when you are stuck trading time for money. And that's, by the way, what all of us are doing right now. We're getting up, we're working the job. We're getting up, we're working a job, and we're trading our hours for a certain amount of money. Okay. So that's active income. Passive income is I have taken my active income that I make during my job, okay, and I invest in things or buy things that go up in value over time or make me money passively, okay, create income. And there's three main ways to do this. You can start a business, okay, that you don't necessarily have to run. And if you're a business owner on this call, you're like, yo, I spend my time in my business all the time. However, the goal of a business is to scale it to the point where you can exit it, right? And hire, either sell the company or hire yourself out so that you don't have to work every day in your business, you work on your business, okay? Number two is you can invest in real estate. That's one main thing I did that has created success for me. And I get paid monthly, semi-passively. I still have to go and fix toilets sometimes. But I'm not making a certain amount of money for the certain amount of hours I spend managing rental properties. And the most common way, by the way, and the easiest is through the stock market, through investing in assets like the S&P 500 and stocks and mutual funds, et cetera, over time, right? And those give you a mathematical return, and you don't have to spend your time during the day to make that money that the stock market will make you. So active versus passive income. Active income, you have to spend your time to make a certain amount of money. Passive income creates income for you without you working directly on it. So that's concept one. So concept two is the time equals money equation, okay? The time equals money equation is what keeps us all in the workforce for our entire lives, okay? When you are stuck trading time for money, and like I said before, you had this natural cap on how much you can make because of the amount of time we have in a day, okay? It's much harder to build wealth when you're stuck in that phase of trading your time for money because you can never really outwork your time constraints, as we all have 24 hours in the day, okay? So what you have to do, the time equals money equation says that you need to trade time for money, right? They're equal. You need to break that equation. You need to take that and throw it out the window, and here's how to do it. I mentioned it just briefly earlier. You need to take active income and buy things that, and take your active income, buy assets that go up in value over time that create you passive income. And once you're to the point where that passive income is equal to or greater than what you make at your job, you have broken the time equals money equation. You no longer have to trade your time for money, okay? And at that point, you are financially independent. We're going to talk about what that means, but at that point, you're financially independent. And that's what we talked about at the top of this call. We want you to exit the workforce. If you want to keep working, if your job as an NP or whatever you go on to do, the great things that you're going to achieve, give you such a sense of achievement, you're serving your community, patients, the hospital, whatever, you can keep doing that. We are not here to say that because you have achieved financial independence, you have to sit on your couch and eat bonbons, as Patrice says, every day. That's not what this is. This gives you the ability to wake up in the morning and say, how do I want to spend my time today that gives me the most gratification in my life? And a lot of times when I ask someone this question, they sit back and they're like, I've never thought of that. Because we are so stuck in this time equals money equation world, and we're stuck in this hamster wheel, this rat wheel that Patrice mentioned last time on our call, that we never get to think, we never have the frame of mind to think like, if I could spend my time however I want to, how would I spend it? And a lot of times it boils down to family, kids, traveling, all these things that we perceive that we can't do to the fullest extent because we're stuck trading time for money, okay? And the last one, financial independence. This is a bigger concept, but mathematically, you can figure out how much money you need to invest today over time to achieve the amount of money in the future that creates that enough passive income that you no longer have to work. So we can debrief about this, and I can go on to explaining how to do that if you want.
Well, I like that, but I wanted to go back to the time equals money equation, because as a step towards financial independence, because the last time we had you on the show and we talked about making sure that you address all the debts that you have, the consumer debts, and that you develop a savings account for 6 months. Where does that factor in the financial independence? Because it seems like it's all connected, but can you help us kind of be able to map it out seamlessly so we could see it?
Yeah. So if you're speaking about, last time on our last call, we went through how to think about where to put every dollar in order, right? And just quickly go over them. Number one, you should have a 1 month emergency fund, either $1,000 to 1 month of expenses. That should be your first money goal. Second money goal is to pay off all consumer debt. And I'll answer your question about how that ties in here in a moment. Third, once you've achieved that, third money goal is to save up a fully funded emergency fund so that you have 6 months of expenses in a high yield savings account so that in case life happens, as it does when we least expect it, you can fund your life and not have to worry about how to pay the bills. Okay. So how that ties in, all those three things are creating the foundation and the bedrock to be able to start investing responsibly, okay, in a risk allocation that gets you the most return on your money. Okay. There's a million and one financial experts on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and I don't think I'm just another one of them, but I'm biased. But anyway, there's a ton of different strategies to tackle money management. I tend to want to mitigate the risk as much as possible for you so that now rather than later, you can sleep better, your food tastes better, your relationships are better, and you can get this emergency fund taken care of. You can get this debt taken care of so you can take on higher risks and get higher return for your investments more responsibly. Okay. So that's how it ties in. But mathematically, how does it tie in? The time equals money equation works both ways, right? You spend a certain amount of time to make a certain amount of money right now. Okay. So unfortunately, we often use debt to finance things that go down in value. A couple of examples are cars, clothes, appliances. We can name more. But when you are borrowing money to finance things that go down in value, and then you pay interest on that, by the way, what you're doing is you're taking that time that you spent to make a certain amount of money and you are devaluing that time. And as we've discussed before, your time is your ultimate resource. So you're taking, let's say you spent 8 hours making $300. Okay. Okay. And that you spent 8 hours to make $300. Okay. You take that $300 and you go buy a car with it. I know cars aren't $300, but just stay with me here, right? You take that $300 and you go buy a car with it. Okay. That car loses 60% of its value in 4 years. So over a 4-year time period, I'm sorry, over a 4-year time period, I'm getting passionate. Over a 4-year time period, you took that $300 and you devalued it by 60%, which means you've taken that 8 hours and devalued those hours by 60%. Okay. So what happens when you trade your time for money and then you put that money in things that go down in value? It creates this quicksand effect, right? Over time that you have to spend then more time to pay off that debt, and then more time and more time and more time. And that's what gets people into this never-ending cycle of debt where they feel like they can't get ahead because they can't out earn the way that those assets go down in value. And the biggest ticket items I'm talking about are really cars, right? In your early 20s, if you buy a car that's too expensive for you, if this is you and it resonates with you, it can handicap you for 10 years because that thing goes down in value so fast that you need to work more and more and more to be able to pay off that car. Then the car dies, you got to get another one roll. It's this snowball effect that you want to avoid of depreciating assets, which is, again, it could be another conversation in and of itself. But the time equals money equation works for you and against you. And it works against you in this way that we're talking about now, which is why paying off consumer debt that is typically higher interest rate than what you could get in the stock market by investing is earlier in my suggestion of what money goals you should tackle. Because once you get rid of debt and once you're not financing things that go down in value, your time is not being devalued. You can take that time, trade it for money, and put it in things that make your time worth more on the back end rather than less.
I like that. One of the things I also wanted to mention is how you mentioned about that freedom that you feel and that you just feel overall good because you're not stressed. You're not having that. It's like a halo of stress like over your head. And it makes me think about a recent situation. A couple of weeks ago, I was headed down to Jekyll Island here in Georgia for a conference. And on my way headed there, I was on the highway and a rock came off of a truck or either kicked off of the road. I'm not for sure where it came from, but it hit my car is really what I'm trying to say. Hit it on the windshield and it hit it so nicely that it split all the way across the whole windshield. And I say that because this morning, as I was driving, taking my son to school, I'm like, man, I understand I just had my windshield hit, but it almost felt like it didn't even happen because as quickly as it happened was as quickly I was able to replace it. And it wasn't even any form of type of stress. Now, most people would say, hey, but didn't your car insurance take care of that? Well, most of the time when it comes to what we're told when we get car insurance or when we sign up for things such as having support with stocks and things like that through companies, there's a fine line. There's the fine print,
Fine
pardon me,
print. Yeah.
fine print. So what happens is my deductible was $500 for the windshield, and everybody knows a windshield does not cost $500 to
Mhm.
replace that, like even with the labor, it's way under that. So really what happens is you're paying out of pocket. And I say all that because the relief and knowing that, hey, I could replace as many windshields as I want, but I don't want to use my money that way. But the relief in knowing that, hey, something happened, I was able to address it right away. I didn't have to borrow money. And it's just, okay, you just keep going. And so I
Mhm.
just say all that because I just want people just to hopefully understand what that good feeling is. I use a very small example. Most people are like, oh yeah, windshield is only probably $250. But we have to think the same way we apply it on a small scale, right, Bruce, is the same way it would be on a larger scale.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
something were to happen.
Yeah, the unfortunate reality, and that's a great story, and definitely pertinent because right now in America in 2023, 66% of people, and that means 66% of people listening to this, 60%, it doesn't matter the demographic, it's our entire country. 66% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. What does that mean? It means that if I miss one paycheck, I cannot fund my life. Meaning, if I miss one paycheck, I can't, something isn't going unpaid, right? And just as many people don't have $400 to put on an emergency. They can't put their hand on that amount of money in case of a cracked windshield, in case of my son broke his arm, whatever, right? And
Right.
so personally, if I was in that situation, and as we've discussed, you need money for everything in this world. Unfortunately, that's the way we set up our society long before we existed. We have to just come to terms with that, right? So to
Right.
ignore that fact is ignoring reality.
Yes.
It's pervasive in every part of your life, and for me, it would make me not sleep as well. I couldn't enjoy food. I couldn't enjoy relationships as well. I would just be thinking about it constantly, and we don't want that for you. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. We're both, evidence of that, and we just want you to win and enjoy your life and live a big life. And these little things, I mean, myself, when I was in my 20s, I accidentally overdrafted my bank account. It cost what, $30. It ruined my entire day because that was where my mindset was. And I think I remember this just like your windshield story, but yours was more positive than mine. I let $30 ruin an entire day. And that's a day that I'll never get back. And just, just giving some perspective, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. And this advice, this talk is so pertinent to the majority of people who are listening to this. Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure that many people want to know, okay, where do I start? And you have some great resources that you offer through your company. Can you tell us a little bit about those resources and where we can find them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are Align Money Mastery. Okay, that's the class, the company that we created in order to help people with exactly that, the first step of how to succeed. Okay, so you can find us two places, or I'm sorry, you can find us online at alignmoneymastery.com. We offer two main products right now. Number one is a 3-month mastery class where you can come in and we walk with you wherever you are coming in to fully mastering your money when you leave. You're able to make decisions about money when your life changes. You understand how the markets work, how to invest, how to pay off debt, how to prioritize every dollar. And we've had great success with the people who have trusted us and gone through this process so far. Number two, if that doesn't sound very interesting to you and you want just the information, just the facts, you can get our online only course, which is a fraction of the cost. And you can find that again on our website, alignmoneymastery.com, and get the same knowledge, the same process, the same classes, everything, just without the one-on-one accountability and one-on-one meetings that the full 3-month class gets.
Thanks. So I wanted to close out with this last question that I pose pretty much for all my guests. If I only knew then what I know now, what would you, Bruce, have done differently?
Yeah, so Patrice, we mentioned on this call that financial independence, quitting your job, having enough money that your investments make and fund your life is a mathematical equation. And we didn't get to that on this one, but we need to do it next time. So had I known then what I know now is that I could have set an amount of money that I could have saved, invested every day, week, month, right? A lot of you are feeling the crunch. A lot of you are saying like, I can't even pay my bills. We can help you get there. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to work forever. You don't have to feel like you're a rat in a wheel or a hamster in a wheel for your entire career. If you're listening to this, you're most likely an NP professional, soon to be or currently, and you're going to help so many people. And just know that you can't exit the workforce. There is options for you. You don't have to feel like you have to work forever. If I knew now what I knew then, is that I would just get on a plan. I would start executing it today, because every day that you wait is tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, of lost opportunity for your money and your future, right? My goal is to help you be where I am, and how I'm closer and closer every day to financial independence, to where I can truly spend my time exactly how I want going forward. I want that for you. I just want you to win, and whatever that looks like for you. So if I knew now what I knew then, is I would start working on this now, understanding there's a mathematical way to achieve this, no matter who you are.
Well said, because it's all about letting you all know the possibilities of being financially free, so you could really enjoy more of life. So if you found this talk very helpful, we ask you to share it with 2 of your friends who can also benefit. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share across our digital platforms. And if you like what you hear, give us a thumbs up and a review. This is Dr. Little here with Let's Talk at MP Student. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you